At my gender reveal party, my twin sister screamed, "You're infertile, Heather. I saw the test results myself. Stop this charade." That's when Dr. Martinez called on speaker. The backyard fell silent except for the neighbor's sprinkler system. 50 guests holding plates of untouched cake stared between Brooke and me. Identical faces showing completely different emotions. Mine showed shock mixing with growing fury. Hers showed the dawning realization that she'd just detonated a bomb in her own life. When my phone rang and I saw Dr. Martinez's name, I answered on speaker out of pure shock. Her cheerful voice boomed across the stunned silence. "Heather, just calling to confirm your ultrasound appointment tomorrow. We need extra time to check all 3 heartbeats." 3 heartbeats, Brooke whispered, her face draining of color. "Dr. Martinez," I managed, my voice surprisingly steady, "you're on speaker at my gender reveal party." "Oh, how wonderful! Well, congratulations again on the triplets. I'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. The line went dead. 50 pairs of eyes ping-ponged between my twin sister and me. My husband Marcus stood frozen by the confetti cannon, his finger still on the trigger we'd never pulled. In that moment, my business training kicked in. I'm a senior project manager at TechFlow Solutions, making $89,000 annually, and I've learned that when someone attacks you publicly, you document everything and respond strategically. I realized this wasn't just about one humiliating moment. This was my opportunity to expose exactly what Brooke had been doing behind everyone's back. "Brooke," I said slowly, "what medical records did you see?" She stepped back, bumping into the dessert table. There must be some mistake. "What medical records?" I pressed, pulling out my phone to start recording. "You just announced to 50 people that I'm infertile based on test results you claim to have seen. I want to know exactly how you accessed my private medical information." Our mother pushed through the crowd, her face ashen. "Girls, please." "No, Mom. She just committed what sounds like a HIPAA violation in front of witnesses. I want answers." Brooke's husband Nathan appeared at her elbow, confusion written across his features. "Babe, what's going on?" "Tell them," I said, keeping my voice steady while my phone recorded. "Tell everyone how you had access to medical records. Tell them why you were so sure I couldn't be pregnant." The party guests formed a semicircle around us. Friends, family, co-workers from my company, all waiting. Someone turned off the playlist. Even the kids sensed drama and stopped playing. Brooke lifted her chin, trying to reclaim control. "Fine. Remember last month when you had that appointment at Forest Hills Fertility Clinic? You used my name. The receptionist called to confirm, and I played along thinking you made a mistake. When I went to clear it up, they showed me the file." "I've never been to Forest Hills," I said quietly, my mind racing through the implications. "I've been with Dr. Martinez at Reproductive Wellness Center for 5 years. Don't lie, they had everything. Test results showing blocked tubes, hormone levels incompatible with pregnancy, recommendations for IVF. Dr. Singh's notes said the chances of natural conception were less than 1%. Nathan stepped away from his wife. "Brooke, why would you go to a fertility clinic?" Our cousin Jessica pulled out her phone. "Forest Hills Fertility Clinic. That's 40 minutes away. Heather, you go to the place on Oak Street, right?" "Yes," I confirmed. "Dr. Martinez has been my OB/GYN since I moved here. I've never been to Forest Hills." "Then whose records?" Nathan's voice trailed off as he stared at his wife. I felt the pieces clicking into place, and I realized I had her. "You went to a fertility clinic. You used my name." "I didn't." The receptionist called to confirm an appointment for Heather Morrison. "You played along. Why would you do that unless you'd already given them that name?" Our mother gasped. "Brooke, you didn't." I pulled up my insurance app, scrolling through recent claims. 6 weeks ago, you asked to borrow my insurance card, said yours was lost and you had an urgent dermatologist appointment for that rash. I found what I was looking for. There was no dermatologist visit, but there's a $847 claim from Forest Hills Fertility Clinic dated exactly when you borrowed my card. The cake knife slipped from someone's hand, clattering on the patio. You used my identity, I continued, my voice growing stronger as I documented everything on my phone. You made an appointment under my name, used my insurance, got tested. This is identity theft and insurance fraud. Brooke's mask finally shattered completely. Tears streamed down her face, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of rage at being caught. Because I couldn't use mine, she exploded. Nathan didn't want to get tested. Said if we couldn't have kids naturally, it was God's will. I needed to know if it was me, but I couldn't risk him finding out. Nathan staggered backward. We agreed. We agreed to let nature take its course. It's been 3 years, Brooke screamed. 3 years of temperature charts and ovulation kits and vitamin supplements, while you refused to even discuss testing. 3 years of watching everyone else get pregnant while you quoted scripture at me. So you committed multiple felonies? I asked, still recording. Identity theft, insurance fraud, medical privacy violations, and then tried to humiliate me in front of everyone because what? You were jealous? You don't understand. She whirled on me. You married Marcus 6 months ago. 6 months, and you're already having triplets. Do you know what it's like being the infertile twin? The broken one? You're not broken, Nathan said quietly, but she laughed bitterly. Yes, I am. Those test results. Blocked tubes, endometriosis, hormone imbalances. That's all me, not Heather, me. She looked around wildly at our stunned relatives. But perfect Heather couldn't just have one baby like a normal person. She had to have 3. Marcus finally moved, positioning himself protectively near me. You tried to destroy our gender reveal because you were jealous. When I saw those results under her name, I convinced myself they were really hers, Brooke said, wiping her face and smearing mascara. That maybe we'd both have issues, that I wasn't alone. So you decided to out me as infertile at my party. I touched my stomach where 3 tiny lives grew. What was the plan, Brooke? Humiliate me and then what? I don't know. She collapsed into a chair. I saw you all happy with your pink and blue everything, and those test results were all I could think about. I thought if everyone knew you were faking, you thought you'd feel better about yourself, our mother finished coldly. Mom never spoke to us coldly. You thought tearing down your sister would somehow lift you up. The gathered crowd began to shift uncomfortably. This was beyond normal family drama. This was witnessing multiple felonies being confessed to in real time. Nathan found his voice. 3 years? You've been lying for 3 years. You wouldn't listen, Brooke shot back. Every time I brought up testing, you said God would provide in his time. Well, guess what? God provided blocked tubes and a hostile uterus. So you stole your sister's identity. I was desperate. You were criminal. He turned to me. Heather, I'm so sorry. We should go. No. Brooke stood. We're not done. She needs to admit it. Admit what? I asked, exhausted but still recording. That you knew. You had to know I was struggling. Twins know. You got pregnant right away to show me up. The accusation hung in the air like smog. Our Aunt Helen actually laughed, a sharp, disbelieving sound. Brooke, I said slowly, I got pregnant because Marcus and I want children. It had nothing to do with you. Not everything is about you. Twins share everything. No, I corrected. We don't. We're individuals. Your infertility isn't my fault or my responsibility, and it definitely doesn't justify identity theft. Our cousin Michael, who works as a paralegal, cleared his throat. Heather, you need to file a police report immediately. Identity theft is a Class D felony in this state, and medical identity theft can affect your insurance coverage for years. You have everything on recording. She's not pressing charges, Brooke said dismissively. We're sisters. We were sisters, I corrected, stopping the recording and saving it to my cloud storage. Sisters don't do this. Sisters don't use each other's insurance to get medical care. Sisters don't publicly humiliate each other out of spite. And sisters definitely don't feel entitled to forgiveness for felonies. The The reality of her situation finally seemed to hit Brooke. You'd send me to jail? You sent yourself the moment you used my identity. I'm just deciding whether to hold you accountable. Nathan, she turned to her husband, tell her. But Nathan was already walking toward the gate. I need time. I can't do this right now. You can't leave me. He paused at the gate. You lied about everything. Used your sister's identity. Committed fraud. And worst of all, you never trusted me enough to be honest. That's not a marriage, Brooke. That's a sham. He left. The gate clicked shut with a finality that echoed across the yard. Brooke sank back into the chair, suddenly looking older than our 32 years. The party guests began to disperse, murmuring excuses, gathering children, abandoning plates of untouched food. The triplets, she whispered. Are they 2 boys and a girl? We were about to reveal it when you decided to blow everything up. I felt anger surge through me again. 2 boys and a girl, due in October. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. Sorry your husband left. Sorry you look like the villain. But you're not sorry for what you did. Mom approached carefully. Girls, we can work this out. No, I interrupted. We can't. Brooke committed multiple crimes. She violated my privacy, my trust, and my medical identity. She tried to destroy my pregnancy announcement out of spite. There's no working this out. But we're family. I looked at my mother, the woman who'd always preached forgiveness, who'd smoothed over every fight with cookies and forced hugs. Family doesn't mean accepting abuse. It doesn't mean enabling criminal behavior. And it doesn't mean I have to pretend this is forgivable. Marcus touched my arm. We should go. Stress isn't good for the babies. I nodded, then addressed the few remaining guests. Thank you all for coming. I'm sorry for this chaos. We're having 2 boys and a girl due in October, and despite what you witnessed today, we're thrilled. As we gathered our things, Brooke made one last plea. Heather, please, I'll get help, therapy, whatever you want. What I want, I said, pausing at the patio door, is to never have my identity stolen again, never have my medical privacy violated, never be ambushed at my own party by someone who should have loved me enough to be happy for me. I do love you. No, Brooke. You love the idea of us being the same, but we're not. I'm pregnant with triplets and you're infertile. I'm honest and you're a fraud. I'm pressing charges and you're probably going to need a lawyer. I left her sobbing in the ruins of my gender reveal party, surrounded by pink and blue decorations that would never fulfill their purpose. The confetti cannons remained unfired, the cake uncut, the joy stolen. But I refused to let her take my future, too. The drive home was silent until Marcus finally spoke. Are you really going to press charges? Absolutely. If I don't, she'll do it again. Maybe not to me, but to someone else. She needs consequences, not coddling. Your mom won't understand. Then she'll have to choose. Enable a criminal or support her victim. Can't do both. The next morning, I started making strategic calls, first to the police to file reports for identity theft and insurance fraud. Detective James Murphy was thorough and professional. Identity theft for medical services is a Class D felony in this state. The insurance fraud adds another charge. Do you have documentation? I have her confession recorded, insurance claims showing fraudulent charges, and 50 witnesses to her admitting it publicly. That's solid evidence. Has she attempted to contact you since yesterday? 23 missed calls and 67 text messages. I showed him my phone. All variations of, please don't do this, and think of the family. Save everything. Don't respond, but document all contact attempts. We'll need those for the harassment charges if she continues. Next, I called my insurance company. The fraud investigator, Maria Santos, was equally thorough. Medical identity theft is particularly serious, she explained. It can affect your coverage, your medical record accuracy, and your credit score. The fraudulent claim was for $847. We'll need to remove it and flag your account. What's the total financial impact? Between the fraudulent medical claim, the investigation costs, and potential credit monitoring, you're looking at about $2,400 in damages. That pushes this into felony territory. Finally, I called Forest Hills Fertility Clinic. The administrative director, Patricia Walsh, was mortified when I explained the situation. "We've never had a case of sibling medical identity theft," she admitted. "We're reviewing our verification procedures immediately. Your sister will be permanently banned from our facility, and we're cooperating fully with the fraud investigation." What were her actual test results? Severe endometriosis, bilateral fallopian tube blockage, and hormonal imbalances consistent with premature ovarian failure. Natural conception probability was less than 2%. We had recommended immediate IVF intervention at a cost of approximately $15,000 per cycle. The medical reality made Brooke's actions even more tragic. Instead of honestly confronting her infertility with her husband, she'd chosen to steal my identity and try to drag me down to her level of despair. By Wednesday, the consequences were cascading exactly as I'd calculated they would. Nathan had moved out and hired divorce attorney Rebecca Chen. My mother called, sobbing, begging me to reconsider pressing charges. Extended family members were choosing sides, with most supporting me once they understood the scope of Brooke's deception. The most satisfying call came Thursday morning. Patricia Walsh from Forest Hills called with an update. "We've completed our internal investigation. Your sister made 3 separate appointments under your name over 6 weeks, using your insurance each time. The total fraudulent charges were $1,247. We're sending all documentation to the police and your insurance company." 3 appointments? Initial consultation, comprehensive testing, and results review. She was quite thorough in her deception. By Friday, the legal machinery was in motion. Brooke's hastily hired attorney, David Kim, called my lawyer requesting a meeting to discuss resolution options. My attorney, Jennifer Park, was blunt. "Your client committed multiple felonies with extensive documentation and witnesses. We're not interested in plea bargains that don't include significant consequences." The arraignment was scheduled for the following Tuesday. I made sure to attend, wearing a flowing dress that emphasized my growing belly. Brooke looked devastated, hollow-eyed and thin, clearly not sleeping or eating well. She'd aged years in just 1 week. When she saw me, she mouthed, "Please," across the courtroom. I looked away and took notes for my victim impact statement. The charges were read: identity theft in the first degree, insurance fraud, violation of medical privacy statutes, and harassment. Brooke pled not guilty, but her lawyer looked uncomfortable. The evidence was overwhelming. Outside the courthouse, Nathan approached me. "I want you to know I'm testifying for the prosecution if this goes to trial. What she did was unforgivable, and I'm filing for divorce, citing fraud and deception." "I'm sorry about your marriage. I'm sorry I enabled her secrecy for so long. If I'd been more open to testing, maybe none of this would have happened. But that doesn't excuse what she did to you. What will you do now? I'm moving back to Denver where my family is, starting over. I've learned I can't trust someone who lies about fundamental things for years." 3 weeks later, Brooke's lawyer called with a plea offer. Guilty plea to reduce charges in exchange for restitution, community service, and counseling. No jail time. "Counteroffer," Jennifer Park responded. "Full guilty plea to all charges, complete restitution of $4,200, including emotional damages and legal fees, 2 years probation with mandatory psychological evaluation, 200 hours community service, and a restraining order. Take it, or we go to trial with 50 witnesses and recorded confessions." They took it. The sentencing hearing was emotional. Brooke stood before Judge Williams, reading a prepared statement about jealousy, desperation, and poor choices. She apologized to me, to Nathan, to our family, and to the court. Judge Williams was unmoved. "Mrs. Patterson, you committed serious crimes motivated by jealousy toward your own sister. You violated her medical privacy, stole her identity, committed insurance fraud, and attempted to humiliate her during what should have been a joyful family celebration. This court sees no mitigating circumstances that excuse such calculated deception. The sentence was comprehensive. 2 years probation, 200 hours community service at a nonprofit organization, mandatory psychological counseling twice monthly, complete restitution of $4,200 for medical bills and legal fees, and a restraining order preventing contact with me for 18 months. Additionally, the judge continued, you are permanently barred from using any medical facility in this state under any name other than your own. Your case will be flagged in the state medical database to prevent future identity theft. Any violation of these terms will result in immediate incarceration. Brooke sobbed as the sentence was read. I felt no satisfaction, only relief that it was over. The babies were born healthy in October. Gabriel, Lucas, and Emma, just as Dr. Martinez had predicted. They were perfect, despite the stress of their first trimester. The delivery went smoothly, and seeing their faces for the first time made every difficult moment worth it. My mother eventually chose my side, though it took months of family therapy sessions. I can't enable criminal behavior, she finally admitted. What Brooke did was inexcusable, and I was wrong to ask you to forgive it. Nathan's divorce was finalized 6 months after the sentencing. He moved to Denver and started working for his brother's construction company. I wasted 3 years with someone who couldn't trust me with the truth, he told me during our final conversation. I won't make that mistake again. The restraining order expired last month. Brooke hasn't tried to contact me. According to Mom, she's in intensive therapy and working at a homeless shelter as part of her community service requirement. She's also paying $350 monthly toward the restitution judgment, which will take her a year to complete. Her probation officer, Linda Martinez, calls me quarterly with updates. She's complying with all terms, she reported last month. The psychological evaluation showed severe anxiety and depression related to infertility, but she's making progress in therapy. She understands the seriousness of what she did. Looking back, I realized the gender reveal party did reveal something important, just not what we'd planned. It revealed that my twin sister would rather destroy me than face her own pain, that she'd commit felonies before admitting weakness, that she'd burn every bridge before building a single honest connection. The triplets are walking now, filling our house with laughter and chaos. Gabriel is the leader, always getting into everything first. Lucas is the thinker, watching his brother's mistakes before trying things himself. Emma is the diplomat, somehow keeping her brothers from fighting too much. Sometimes people ask if I miss having a twin, if I regret pressing charges. I don't. Family isn't about shared DNA. It's about people who choose to support and celebrate your achievements rather than sabotage them out of jealousy. Brooke taught me that sometimes the person who shares your face can be a stranger to your heart, but she also taught me that consequences matter, that boundaries are necessary, and that protecting yourself from toxic people, even family, isn't selfish. It's survival. The children will grow up knowing they have an aunt they've never met, one who made choices that destroyed her relationship with our family. When they're old enough to understand, I'll tell them about the importance of honesty, the danger of jealousy, and the consequences of trying to tear others down instead of building yourself up. It's a complicated legacy from a complicated situation. But watching Gabriel, Lucas, and Emma play together, I know I made the right choice. Some bridges are worth burning to protect what matters most. The financial impact on Brooke was severe. Between the restitution payments, legal fees, therapy costs, and the divorce settlement, she lost approximately $18,000. Nathan kept their house and most assets, citing fraud as grounds for an unequal division. Meanwhile, my career flourished. The confidence I gained from standing up to family manipulation translated into professional success. I was promoted to senior project manager 6 months after the babies were born, with a salary increase to $97,000. The company also provided excellent maternity benefits and flexible work arrangements. The gender reveal that never happened taught me everything I needed to know about family, loyalty, and the price of jealousy. It was the most expensive lesson Brooke ever received and the most valuable one I ever learned. What matters most is building a family based on love, honesty, and genuine support, not the toxic dynamics I grew up thinking were normal. The triplets will never know a world where family members steal from each other or try to tear each other down out of spite. That's the real victory, not the legal consequences or the financial restitution, but breaking the cycle and creating something better for the next generation.